Oh, hey, back again. I don't know what happened. I think I X'd out of the Zoom. So my apologies for that, but we're hopping back in and I'm just gonna reintroduce myself real quick. We're excited because this is all about being a super manifestor. It's about quantum physics and you're gonna love this. So grab your notebook, grab your pen, take screenshots in the comments. If you're catching the replay, let us know your aha moments and what you're manifesting right now. My name's Linan. I'm a multi-six-figure business mentor, and I teach self-concept work and social sales for you to be able to scale your business to multiple six figures. And I hope I'm streaming live to the right space. And let's see if you could just let me know in the comments that you're here. I accidentally X'd out. Okay. Let's not do this again. So I'm going to pull up the slides that I created. All right. Okay. So this tool will make you a super manifestor in your business. It's very powerful. I've been using it for about 4 years, 3 years now in my business. I've created a 300K business in 33 months. So you could say that it works. You're wanting to become a super manifestor, right? And so you might have heard that your thoughts become things. You might have heard that you create things through your beliefs. And this is true. This theory and this part of quantum physics and this effect is going to help you amplify your results with money, with clients, and with confidence, and anything else that you want to use it and apply it to. It's very powerful. But the thing is, most people can't sustain it, or they stop believing in it, or they just stop doing it altogether. And I'm going to give you that technique at the end of this session, but I first want to explain how this works. So raise your hand if you've ever heard of the double slit theory or the observer effect. This was an experiment they did in the 1600s. And I'm just going to touch slightly upon them as best as I can for you to understand how this actually works. And it's also important to have like that evidence, right? So that our mind grasps onto it. So they did a set of experiments with matter, with wave, and with electron, which are tiny, tiny particles of matter. So they basically did 3 sets of different experiments, the double slit theory. It kind of looks like this, just so you have a picture of what it looks like. So they first did this set of experiment with matter, okay? And they shot this matter through one slit, and it created one pattern. Then they shot the matter through 2 slits. It created 2 patterns. Then they did another set of experiments with wave, right? Like almost thinking of, you can look at it as like water wave. So then they pushed the wave, they shot the wave into 1 slit, and it created 1 pattern. Then they shot the wave into 2 slits, and it created an interference pattern, which creates multiple different patterns on the screen, okay? So we're talking about matter, we're talking about wave, right? Matter, the physical, tangible things that we can hold on to and touch. Wave is like particle, like energy, right? Then they did another experiment with the wave. With electrons. So electrons are like tiny, tiny pieces of matter, okay? So they did this experiment through 1 slit. And they shot the electrons and it created 1 pattern. Then they shot the matter through 2 slits and it created an interference pattern like a wave. So at first they're like, oh my gosh, how is matter energy? How is matter wave? How is this happening? So they then went on to create another experiment, all right? Because this electron at one time, the matter, how does the matter, right, become the wave? They're like, how is this possible? So they did another experiment. And they decided to shoot one electron at a time versus tons of electrons at the same time, because they thought if maybe all of these tons of electrons were going out, they were bouncing off each other and creating this wave pattern. So they shot one at a time electrons, and bear with me, this is going to culminate one at a time. And when they were shooting it at one at a time, the matter became wave potential, which means it created the same pattern. The tiny bits of matter created the same pattern as wave, as energy. So what this showed, well, this boggled their mind. They're like, how is it that wave is matter and matter is wave and matter is energy? How is this happening? Because mathematically, when they did this, when they shot this electron one at a time and it became a wave, what it actually showed mathematically is that some of the electrons didn't go through. Some of the electrons stopped before entering the slits. And then some of the electrons just went through one of the slits. So this again boggled their mind. Then they came in with another experiment, which is the most important. So listen, they measured it. They put a measurement observation tool next to the electron that was going through the slits. And what happened then was quantum physics. Blew their mind, because as the measurement observation machine was watching the electron stopped and went back to matter. So when they observed the electron, it went back to being matter instead of wave. And the only thing they changed in the experiment is the observation. Key word right now, observation. Observation. Okay. So again, this is what it looked like, the setup for all three. One slit and then two slits, and then they had a measurement machine right here watching the electron go through. The observer effect changes, right? The physics changes that the act of observation will make on the phenomenon being observed. Okay, so the act of your observation of things creates the phenomenon. Potential impact of the act of observing a process output, the process is running, right? These are kind of technical terms, but I wanted to add them. So a form of reactivity in which a researcher's cognitive bias causes them to subconsciously influence the participants of the experiment. Okay, bias, observation, subconscious influence. These are key words for this next part into why and how to become a super manifestor with creating more clients, with creating more money, with more expansion, whatever it is that you want. Let me know your aha moments in the comments. So how do we see this observation effect? How do we see this double slit theory in real life, right? Let's make some sense to it. Let's bring it back down to ground. So if a tree falls in the forest and no one's there to hear it, does it make a sound? Dr. George Berkeley goes back to that saying, does it? Does it make a sound? Yes or no? The observer, who's there to observe it? Who's not? Sound therapy. There's been experiments how sound therapy activates solfeggio beats. We all know that. Well, we might not all, but what you take in becomes your reality, your beliefs. There's something called the secret life of plants that talks about plants are sentient beings. They've hooked plants up to these lie detectors basically and measured them through different graphs, how they've done these experiments where like a plant or a piece of fruit would prefer to be eaten than thrown out, like all different experiments, right? This sentient being type stuff, this observer effect, these minute waves, energy, right? Things we cannot see. Your bias affects how you create your life. When Dr. Wayne Dyer, when you change the way that you look at things, the things you look at change, right? Experiments that have been shown that words themselves actually emit a unique vibration that water can sense and change the molecular makeup and feeling of the water. Thoughts become things. Where your focus goes, energy flows. So these are kind of small snippet examples of the observer effect, how your thoughts become things. So let's take it deeper. Let's make it more clear. These are the 6 elements that I've created in my method to manifest whatever you want. These are the 6 elements that literally make us up as human beings. Our memories, our identity, our beliefs, our thoughts, our emotions, and actions. And each one of those creates this kind of functionality as a human being. Memories create perception, identity creates habits, beliefs create behavior, thoughts create patterns, emotions create feelings, actions create strategy, right? So this is also part of the value harmonic. So let me know if this is resonating, because I know it's a lot. So the question begs, if you want to make more money, if you want more clients, if you want more influence, if you want whatever it is that you want in your business today, tomorrow, next month, this is a huge component. How are you observing your habits, your thoughts, your beliefs, your emotions, your feelings? How are you observing money? How are you observing client attraction? How are you observing your business? How are you observing yourself? How are you observing the memories, right? So our memories are the root that if we don't handle those memories and reprogram them, any kind of belief work we do, any thought work that we do, any emotional embodiment that we do, all will not remain sustainable because the memories are the root cause and effect to how we create our identity. And that identity creates the observer effect of things like money, like clients, like confidence, like success, like influence, like community, like collaboration, all of it. Now, I'm sure you've heard of belief work. I'm sure you've heard of, memory flipping. I'm sure you've heard of emotional embodiment. I'm sure you heard about aligned action. I mean, that most of us can say is pretty influential in the business world, in the spiritual world, in the market space. This is the missing link to becoming a super manifestor. I have like 1 minute. The missing link that rides the path and creates the functionality of the observer effect of the double slit theory, that it's not just about thoughts creating things. It's true, but we also know that our ability to sustain that can be difficult, right? Because we tend to go back to the familiar past, right? And what is the familiar past? Programming, beliefs, modeling, patterns, habits, emotional, family stuff, this shit, all the stuff, right? We tend to go back to what's familiar and safe. So how do we skip out of the grueling, traumatic work that might not necessarily have to be done all the time to create more wholeness, more well-being, quantum leaping, right? The missing link is your ability to consistently, every day and night, measure and observe what it is that you want and not what you don't want, and track that. If we do not track the things that we want, I'm talking about the smallest things that happen in your business that are daily wins. That's why we say celebrate your daily wins, but track your daily wins. If you find a quarter that rolls up on your foot, track that. That's a sign of abundance. If you have somebody reaching out to you in some way, shape, or form, track that. That's abundance. If you have somebody who comes into your world and says something really nicely to you, track that. That's abundance. If you have some stranger come up to you or in passing smile at you, track that. That's abundance. Do you feel this pulse? If we do not track and measure and observe the small, minute particle stuff that happens every day, inside, outside of our business, we're going to continue to go back to the old familiar past and go back to the old memories, go back to the old belief system, go back to the old thought patterns, go back to the old emotions. Key. If you want quantum physics to work for you, if you want a quantum leap, if you want to become a master super manifestor, start tracking the daily evidence, the minute stuff, the little spark that you get inside. This is going to create the momentum that creates the wave in your life, in your business, with clients, with money, with your happiness. It doesn't matter what's going on in your environment. You will win, you will succeed, and you will help other people. If you want to connect further with me, I talk all about manifestation on TikTok, and I invite you to come over there. Powerful, powerful short form video, talks about manifesting your business and every other single thing that goes on inside business, from energetics to strategy. I love you. Take care. I hope this helped. Bye.